What's up, Army? It's Jackie, also known as Jackie in the Soup, and welcome to Talk Bangtan to Me, a podcast all about BTS for Army. Whether you're a seasoned Army or just discovering the magic of Bangtan, this podcast is a space to celebrate the music, the moments, and the incredible impact BTS has on our lives. I'll be diving into the world of fandom, chatting with fellow Army, and sharing all the reasons why we love these 7 normal boys from Korea. So come into my own little magic shop and talk Bangtan to me. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. We're still here doing our member series. Thanks for the feedback on the Namjoon and Jin episodes so far. It's pretty intimidating knowing that in my audience, there's bound to be someone that stands that member. So I really want to make sure I do right by that member and by the armies that support that member, while also remaining authentic and giving my honest opinions. So I appreciate the love I've gotten so far. I made an executive decision to do fan chant order. I was polling it on Instagram, and the polls kind of ended up falling in fan chant order anyway. So I have decided to just keep it rolling with Suga, Yoongi, August D. This is a highly anticipated episode because a lot of people stan Yoongi. He is like that guy. But first, I want to do a recap of what's been going on in the fandom since we spoke last. We had a couple of things these past 2 weeks that really kind of shook the fandom up. We had our ticketing experience for Jin's tour this summer. After overpaying for J-Hope's tour and the ticketing debacle that happened there with just tickets being available and everything, I went into Jin's ticketing with the mindset that I was not going to overpay. If I could not get anything during the pre-sale, I was going to just wait it out. But I got pretty lucky. By the time I got in, there was nothing left on the floor. The only thing available was nosebleed seats and platinum pricing lower level. I really decided for this tour that I had to let go of the idea of being close, having VIP, going all in, because it's just one of those moments where I know I want to be there. I know that I will stop at nothing to be there, but I need to level set and do things a little differently because we're getting really, really close to come back. I am just weeks away from going to Korea. I was okay with going for those nosebleed seats, and the nosebleed seats were actually very cheap. And when I say very cheap, I mean $69 I paid for night 1, $89 for night 2. That's unheard of. And I wonder if there is some sort of awakening coming with Ticketmaster where they are realizing that they cannot continue to rip off people like this. I mean, I think Ticketmaster is getting sued anyway. Something's going on with that. So I hope that's good news for us. From what I heard, the US states were all pretty much the same. I didn't really hear of people not being able to get tickets at all. From what I hear, there are still some tickets trickling around on the general sale, which is fantastic. I heard the Asian ticket sales and European ticket sales were a little more confusing. There was a big miscommunication around accessing the right link to get to the pre-sale. It was just a mess. But again, from what I heard, most people were able to get tickets, and I'm happy for that. Now, I really don't think it's going to be like that for BTS. I think BTS is going to be a bloodbath. I still believe it will be. I've spoken with several people who have not done any of the solo tours. D-Day, Hope on the Stage, they did not get tickets for Jin because they are saving for that OT7 concert. People who invested a ton of money in Hope on the Stage and went to multiple dates are sitting Jin's tour out. I think we're just going to see a larger number of people all trying to get those OT7 tickets. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm excited to go both nights. Back to Newark. Newark is not glamorous. It's convenient for me to get to, but it's not the greatest place for a concert, but I will go for BTS. I will go for Jin. The next thing that has the fandom talking is RM's new single with Tableau, Stop the Rain. That song kind of snuck up on us. We heard, I think maybe a week or two ago, that the song was going to even be coming out. It is an amazing song. It's an amazing song. And I think we kind of knew going into it that this was going to be a song with heavy themes. It was going to be a very emotional song, and that describes it absolutely to a T. It's very heavy. It's got themes of depression, suicidal ideation, and just everything that goes along with that. I keep comparing it to August D's Amidala, because it's like that deep song that really hits on some hard stuff. And Tableau's lyrics are gut wrenching, saying things like, I wish I was crushed in the womb. And Namjoon saying, I thought I'd be part of the 27 Club. For those who don't know what that means, the 27 Club is celebrities that die at 27. It's like a phenomenon, whether it's ending their own life or addictions, things like that. So Namjoon saying that he thought he was going to be one of them is pretty intense. It's so shocking to the system to hear these things, just like it does with Amidala. If you were here for Amidala when it dropped, the fandom was shook up in the same kind of way. There were some armies that were worried for the mental well-being of Yoongi and now for RM. Other armies are just happy that they're being so brave and able to talk about these things. But for those that are worried about them, you have to just remember that they haven't been able to share this side of their lives because K pop idols are perfect on the inside and out. And they don't have these feelings, or you're not supposed to see these feelings. They are pure and live for their fans and single and just, that whole narrative that they shove down our throats. So really, he is finally starting to really speak out about those tough years and tough feelings that most of us in the world have felt at some point. Now, I'll say Yoongi has been doing this for a while. Yoongi's always been really honest and open about mental health and things like that. And we'll get into that later in the episode. But I love to see this coming out in full force from Namjoon because I think we all knew, like, it should be no surprise that he was feeling this way. You can tell that he's feeling some heavy stuff. And I would say Taehyung probably as well, and the others. My suggestion to Army is continue to hold that space for them. Just listen, support the music. When they come on a Weverse Live, tell them how brave they are, how he's giving you a voice, and things like that, because that's what they need to hear. I don't think they need to hear, please take care of yourself and all of that, because they have people in their lives helping them through that stuff. From Army, they just need support. But yeah, the song is hauntingly beautiful. It's not one that I'm going to be able to listen to all the time, truthfully, if I'm being honest. I'm someone who has a history of struggling with mental health. I still fight depression, and it's one of those songs that kind of puts you in a headspace, especially if you've suffered from any of the things that they are talking about, such as religious trauma or anything like that. It could definitely trigger some things and bring up some emotions. So I have listened to it a handful of times, and I will continue to, but it's going to be like Amidala for me. Amidala is not one that I run to put on for the same types of reasons. It's just heavy. I think it was smart of Tableau to release it now. He said he intentionally released it now so Namjoon would not have to face all the questions about the song. I think that was very wise because he likely would. There'd be a lot of focus on him and his mental health and all of that, and he doesn't need that. So I'm glad it came out now, and maybe we'll see a performance of it. Maybe they recorded some sort of a video together for it. Who knows? Who knows what'll come? But it was really nice to get something new from Namjoon. Really loved it. Okay. I know some of you are probably like, shut up and talk about Yoongi. The final thing that threw everyone was the Tae-kook gym photo. Listen, I don't know what kind of powers I have, but I was down a rabbit hole of JK's famous workout live. And I was sharing on Instagram. I was freaking out about it with my Instagram followers. And then boom, that night they dropped this gym photo. It just felt like I had telepathy with them or something. But we got an updated gym photo of Tae and JK both looking huge. Okay, absolutely huge. Now, JK, he was pretty darn big in those final months leading into enlistment. Like the way he looked during Are You Sure? He was huge. Like he was massive. But now seeing him next to Tay, he is solid and thick, and you can tell he has really worked very hard and he's very proud of himself. I've never seen him look like that. I've never seen him look like that. Around the butter era pandemic, he had this little phase where his arms were getting pretty big and toned. And it was like, okay, Tay, never have seen him like this. He's not only buff in the arms, he's got some serious abs going on there too. He just looks thick all around. I wonder what his legs look like. I'm sure his legs are like tree trunks now too. So everybody's salivating and thirsty over it. I love to see Taekook together. Obviously, I think those two and Namjoon are going to be like the three buff daddies of BTS. We know that June's going to be big. Hobie came out toned. He came out nice and toned, but not bulky. I don't think Jimin would have let himself get bulky just because of who he is. And Yoongi's role in the military isn't as physical as the others. So I'm curious to see what the rest of them are going to look like when they come out. But I'm loving this. And I really just am very happy for Tae because he really is thriving in the military. And he went in saying he had this goal. He had a goal. And 18 months is, in the grand scheme of things, not that long for him to totally transform his body like that. Let's hope and pray that he keeps that body as long as possible. He seems to like it. They're beautiful when they're lean and thin, and they're beautiful when they're buff. So we'll take them any which way. We just need them home at this point, let's be honest. And there is one more thing. Hope on the Stage is kind of coming to an end here. He's got some shows left. As of today, he did his final show in Jakarta, Indonesia. I got to see where he's going next, but the tour is just flying on by. There were some incidents with people grabbing at him, things like that, which is like a big eye roll. Like, come on, Army, seriously. But I have to say, I'm pretty impressed that the tour's gone this long. And just now we're seeing some armies acting up. So let's just remember to respect their space, and whatever they give us, we don't need to take any more. Just be happy for the interactions we're having. But he was a great sport about it, though. You couldn't even tell he was upset. He laughed about it, and he was okay. So wishing him the best of luck on his last few tour stops. Okay. All right. Let's get into it. Thank you for being patient. We had some things we had to discuss, okay? We will finally get into it. He goes by Min Yoongi, Suga, August D, Little Meow Meow, but I'm going to refer to him as Yoongi. I just like to call him Yoongi. Now, I will die on this hill. I think he is the most popular member. I know everybody wants to say the Maknae line, JK, Jimin, they are the most popular members. I stand firm in believing that Yoongi is the most popular member. Or it could be just because I attract Yoongi stans. I don't know, but it just seems like everybody loves him, especially in the United States. In America, the rap line is for sure the most popular. And I would say Yoongi is the most popular of the rap line in my experience. But I guess everybody could have a different experience based on where you live, things like that. So he, in my opinion, is definitely the most musically inclined of the group. He is someone where music just runs through his veins. It is part of his DNA. Like Namjoon, he started very young, very young. At 13 years old, he was writing lyrics. He got a job at a recording studio when he was 17, started producing and performing as an underground rapper at 17 years old. He was using the name Gloss, and he was trying to make it as a producer, and he was writing songs for others. The famous story about Yoongi joining Big Hit is that he was joining as a producer. He wanted to be a producer behind the scenes. He wanted to create music. And when he was proposed with being a trainee, he was told that he would not have to dance. And that's like the biggest joke that Bang PD said, you're not going to have to dance. And then here he is learning all of this choreo, becoming a trainee to debut in 2013 with the rest of the group. But in those early days, he did have a big part in writing and producing a lot of the music for the group. He worked hard and became an awesome dancer. You need to go back and watch early dance practice videos. Yoongi killed it in the dance room back in those early days, and he still got it. He really is a great dancer, but he often jokes that he got conned into being a dancer in the group. He is credited on over 160 songs at this point, and that includes songs that he wrote for BTS, songs that he wrote for other artists, and solo songs he wrote for himself. He is constantly working and writing. He's a workaholic, and you can just tell he's got endless ideas in that brain of his. But some of the other members really didn't start stretching into solo works until later in their career. He has always had solo songs or songs that he did most of the writing on in BTS. For example, Seesaw, Interlude Shadow, Intro Nevermind, First Love. I mean, these are all songs that he was the driving force behind and are kind of known as the Yoongi songs. In 2016, he released his first mixtape, August D. August D is his alter ego, that's his rap persona. And that album is grit. It's a lot of anger. It's a lot of angst. It's a lot of F you to everybody. And also being really open about the struggles he faces and has. We didn't really know the specifics of the things he's gone through, but he alludes to having social phobias, depression, anxiety, things like that. It was a SoundCloud release, later re released on Spotify. Thank God, because that was the second album I listened to after Hope World. I listened to J Hope's solo works first and dove into those, and then I went into August D. And when I turned on the August D album, I was just like, whoa. And it's really unique. Like, he truly has a very unique sound. Then in 2020, he released D2 with the famous Dechita, and 2023, D Day. So he is the only member that has a true trilogy body of work. So the August D trilogy really tells the story of healing, growth, forgiveness, peace, acceptance. It really is told in the lyrics of those three albums. D Day unveiled some of the things that he had been through. He talks about his accident. He was in a bike accident and had to get major surgery and had to step back from BTS and recover. He talked about his parents' health issues and just all of these things that we had no idea was going on behind closed doors. And that's kind of what RM and Tableau's song kind of reminded me of. But the whole trilogy was very well received. I just love his commitment to his music. I love that he remained committed to creating his own music and expressing himself musically while also being in the group. And that is something that I hope to see with all the other members. I think he kind of created that template. This is how you do it. This is how you're in BTS and put out your own music. So I think when the guys discharge, we may see more of this. We may see the group activities happening while also solo activities are happening, which I pray for our bank accounts and our mental sanity, but it's cool to know that it can be done. Gosh, his D-Day tour was the shock that no one saw coming. I always say that we never saw it coming because that is what BTS does. They always surprise us and pull something out of left field and say, there's a tour happening and a pre-sale's happening in 2 weeks. So get ready. There's like no warning whatsoever. But I remember when D-Day launched, it was pandemonium because he hadn't really performed August D tracks publicly. We knew and loved the songs from August D and D2 for a long time, but we never had a concert where he performed those, other than Muster Sawuzu, where the group did Dechita together. So that's what made the D-Day tour so epic, was to see a lot of those songs performed for the first time. He was our first taste at what a solo tour was going to look like. Now I feel like we're getting used to it with Hope on the stage and now Jin. But that was brave of him to say, I'm going to go out on a massive world tour. He didn't know what to expect. Now, he could have sold out stadiums 3 times the size of what he did. Yoongi's tour ticketing was a complete bloodbath. It just absolutely was. Probably because the enlistment was so fresh for us. It was so fresh for Army that we were just like running into his arms. Like, he was giving us a tour as his gift to us. And we had to be there. We were running to him. And it was so worth it if you were there. But he did a great job. He took over that stage by himself with no problem. The concepts were amazing. The stage was gorgeous. I was on the floor for the first night, soundcheck VIP. So I didn't really take in the stage. His stage was a little bit hard to see if you were on the floor. It was a stage that started out one way and then slowly the stage started breaking apart and disappearing until the end where he was just on this little stool and that was all. But that was kind of hard to see. I did like how on Hope on the Stage, he had a raised platform that went up really high so you can always see him. But Yoongi's was a little bit more difficult. So I really took that in when I watched all of his live streams. I watched that thing 6 times. He did a 3-night live stream. So I watched it 3 times and then 3 replays. So I have seen my fill of D-Day, but it never gets old. I would go see that show again in a heartbeat if I had the opportunity. I loved the set list of that tour too. He had the perfect assortment of songs. The BTS medley with all his iconic rap verses was the highlight of the show for me. Getting to hear Dang and Cypher was awesome. And it really just kind of scratched that itch because, again, military enlistment was very fresh and new for us. It does have me wondering what's going to be next for him because the other members put out albums and are now doing tours. He did the tour first, the tour and album first. What's he going to do now? I'm sure he's got more music. If all the other members have new music to put out, he's going to have new music to put out too, without a doubt. Especially now that he has quote unquote healed. At the close of the D-Day tour, he finally walks through the door of his amygdala, the door where he finally walks away from his trauma. He leaves his trauma in the room and he exits and he smiles and he waves. It was like him finally closing that August D chapter, which is bittersweet because we love August D. But I don't know if he's going to release anything else as August D. Maybe not. Maybe he feels like his story is told and he doesn't have anything else to say. Regardless, this man is going to be doing music for the rest of his life. Just like when I was at Hope on the Stage and I said to Kelly, who was next to me, he's going to do this for the rest of his life. I feel that way about Yoongi. I don't know if it's going to be on the stage performing. I think he would like to do it as long as he possibly could. He loves being with us. He loves being in front of the crowd and feeling the energy of the crowd. But I can see him stepping back and being a producer one day. I could see him either working for Hybe or starting up his own label, producing for other artists. I see him doing what he originally sought out to do before he got tricked into being in BTS, which I know he's grateful for, but it's just funny. The way he samples music, his lyricism, his production is flawless. He's a genius, truly. He has a lot to give to the music industry, and I hope he continues to do so. Wouldn't it be awesome if he came to the US and worked at a label here? That's my wish list item. It's my wish list item for all of them to get them out of Korea for a bit and let them have freedoms to do whatever they want to do in this industry and have normal adult lives, but still be involved in music. That's what I wish for them. And I just think Yoongi has such talents that need to be heard and seen everywhere. Let's just be real. Because he's Korean, because he's from BTS, people will write him off immediately. I know in America that's the case. Sad, but true. I swear, I hear all these crappy rappers over here in the US, and I'm just like, y'all have no idea. You have no idea what you're missing by not listening to August D. I'm not even deeply ingrained in the rap scene, truly, but I still think he's one of the greatest rappers of our generation. He just has a sound that is not like others, and that's to be recognized. I just absolutely love every single thing about him. It doesn't surprise me that Army is absolutely crazy over him. Not only is he all of the things I just said about being talented and genius and passionate, but his personality is to die for. I mean, he is the one that isn't going to fake it. He's not going to fake anything. When they're in an interview, if he thinks something's dumb, you're going to see it all over his face. He is authentically himself all the time. Now, not saying the other members aren't, but the other members do have roles to play, and they know that, and they play along with those. But Yoongi's always been just Yoongi. He is one of the more introverted ones. He's one of the more private ones. He's got grit and aggression, but he's also very soft as well. He is very caring. One of the first clips I saw of Yoongi was on In the Soup season 2 when Jimin and J-Hope are playing video games and Yoongi's laying there watching and he goes to the kitchen and makes them some sort of tuna mayo cracker concoction and he brings it over to them. He doesn't say a word. He just places it down in front of them and then he just smiles to himself when they are so excited to have a snack. I learned so much about him in such a simple gesture like that. So it makes sense why people just melt for him. He's funny too. He's really funny. Like his silly side comes out too every now and again. And it just makes everything better. When you see him get into his silly side or he's dancing around, those are like those few and far between moments that we long for. We didn't see too much of that silliness at D-Day. The vibe of D-Day to me was very professional and down to earth. He did start doing the Samsung Galaxy phone thing where he was looking for the Samsung phone and he was kind of toying with Army going down to the barricade. That kind of developed over the tour and got cuter and more personal every single time. But it had a different vibe than, say, J-Hope, who's getting up close and personal with Army. It was just different. One wasn't better than the other, but I found Yoongi's tour to be super, super polished. And you looked at him and were just like, whoa, that's a superstar up there. You could tell he took that tour very, very seriously. So I look to see him do that as the group comes back together. It's no secret that Namjoon has struggled carrying the weight of the group on his back. I think Yoongi would do a great job stepping up and being a rock for the group, just like J-Hope will as well. I mean, Yoongi definitely, through his variety show Suchita, he has really shown himself stepping up and acting like that big brother to the members. As he had the members on, a lot came up about how he really helped shape them musically and inspired them, and he's always looking out for them, and he has a good ear and knows when something is going to be successful. So he would be an incredible leader for the group to help kind of guide them through this new, more mature era. As long as BTS has Min Yoongi in their corner, they're never going to fail. His artistic direction, they can't go wrong. They can't go wrong. He's going to have a lot to say, that's for sure. He's had a pretty tumultuous event with his scooter incident, which honestly, I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm not even going to talk about it on this because I don't think it's necessary. We just need to move on from it. We know what happened and we know what he endured. So I want for him to come back strong, be embraced by Army, and say what the hell he needs to say, because you know there's a lot. All right, I'm a little long-winded here. I think we should get into my guest portion, or else I'll just keep going. So I have to say, I just put it out there for this episode. I put it out there and asked who wanted to talk about Yoongi, and I was absolutely bombarded. Now, in the past, the podcast wasn't like this. I had to kind of like beg people and say, I promise it's not going to be hard. It's going to be easy. You'll be comfortable. And I was worried. I'm like, I'm never going to have guests that want to come on this podcast. I'm going to run out of people. But as soon as I put it out there about Yoongi, I got all these messages. I want to talk about him, and some of the other members too. And it's getting to the point where I need to have multiple people on, like a panel. I could probably do a panel for every single member. But ultimately, I decided to have one of my best friends, Isabel and Jackie, on today. They are diehard Yoongi stans, and I really wanted to have Isabel here because she initially was a hard no. Like, she would not come on the podcast. She was nervous. She didn't want to do it. But by some miracle, and it's probably just because she's doing it for her man, she agreed to come on. So please join me in welcoming Jackie and Isabel. Hello, ladies. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Hi.
So these are two of my closest friends. We have Isabel, and we call her MJ, but her name's actually Jackie also. We call her MJ. Isabel and I connected through Instagram. You know, we found each other through Instagram, but Jackie actually is coworkers with my sister who lives in San Diego. And my sister one day messaged me and she showed me a picture of Jackie's phone with Yoongi on it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And that's how we connected. And then, you know, the three of us became friends, and you two really, really hit it off. And that's amazing. Isabel is way out of her comfort zone. Let's just put it out there right now. She's way out of her comfort zone. And I'm so proud of her for coming on and doing this, because if there's anybody that loves Min Yoongi and is the most loyal, it is her. So thank you so much for being here. Okay, so let's do it. Let's start with your Army stories. MJ, why don't you go first?
Yeah, so I want to say that my story started during pandemic, and it's really true. It's a testament to what everyone says, you know, BTS finds you when you need them the most. And I was definitely going through a lot, as we all were during pandemic. And I remember just kind of scrolling through my phone, through the reels, you know, creating a new algorithm. And I would see a lot of the like Run BTS, reels, little clips. And I was like, who are these guys? They look like they're having a lot of fun. And I just kept watching them. And I think the algorithm just like caught on and was like, we're just going to keep sending you more reels of these guys. So then I started to, who are they? What are their names? And yeah, I went through the rabbit hole. And then eventually there was a reel that came up on my phone. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I do distinctly remember it was Yoongi. And he was drinking out of a cup. And I remember just thinking, he's drinking out of a cup and he keeps missing the straw, which is very like a Yoongi thing to do.
Mhm.
And that's all it took.
That's where
That's
you fell
it.
in love. That's it.
That's it. That's all it took. And then I fell in love. And then I was like, I must know more about this Min Yoongi.
Yeah. So I feel like that's such a common story. Pandemic, rabbit hole, because we're all just trapped inside. And the algorithm story. Like, I don't know if
Hmm.
Hybe is pay in social media or what, but it's like as soon as you get a whiff of them in your algorithm, they take over completely and you can't
Hmm.
escape it. And it's like before you know it, your entire algorithm is BTS. So yeah, we have a similar story there. And Isabel, how about you? What's your army story?
It's similar to MJ's. Mine was actually in 2022. Even though I've known about them like in 2016, I didn't go down the rabbit hole until 2022. And that's because also I was going through like something dark in my life at the time, and I fell like into a depression. You know, like MJ, I was scrolling through IG and a video popped up. So I clicked on the comments and I was like, just reading the comments, and I thought the comments were so hilarious. So it made me want to look into like who these guys were. So that's when I, looked up an interview and try to find out their names. And I just, from there, it was over from there.
2022. So pre Festa, right? The
Hmm.
famous Festa. But it was too late for you to see PTD Vegas.
Yeah, it's okay though. I'm looking forward to their new tour when they come.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Yeah.
It's so close. It's so close. And y'all have been just starved. I was complaining about JK, but at least we got a live from him. I'm like, he's
Hmm.
been so hidden. And I was getting all these DMs like, what about the Yoongi stands? We've got nothing. It's like, true,
We've
true.
been patient.
We've been very, very patient.
He's taught us to be patient.
So you're both diehard Yoongi biases. Now, MJ, it was always Yoongi from the start. Isabel
Hmm.
has a history. She had a road to Yoongi, and she and I both were Tay stands. We came into the
Hmm.
fandom Tay stands. And like right around the same time, some will say I was in denial for years, but right around the same time, she and I started to kind of shift. I was like, I'm in love with JK. And you were like, I'm in love with Yoongi, but also Jimin was in there too. So
Hmm.
explain what happened there. Tell us your journey to Yoongi.
Well, with Yoongi, I mean, I was in my own little bubble with V-Man, like because of Filter. I saw the Filter performance and I just literally got hypnotized by Jimin. But shortly after that, like I started like looking into more like the other members, and I ended up finding Yoongi's song Deshita, and I was just like actually blown away with that song. I fell in love with it right away. I started looking into him more, and then he started pulling me slowly, and I felt.
It's funny that you're saying he was slowly pulling you in. From my
Mhm.
perspective, there was no slow. It was like a light switch. Like once he had you, and that was
It,
it. Slow to admit, maybe, but
yeah, that's probably what I meant. Because after Busan, that's when I felt like, oh no, he's the one for me.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think that's great for people to hear because I did a whole episode on biases, but the bias guilt is a very real thing. Like,
it's real.
but you know what? You know how you know you made the right choice is that Taehyung is showing up like he is now, buff and what's your fantasy? All this stuff that Tae is doing, and he hasn't brought you back. You're still just like,
Mm-mm.
nope, Yoongi. And I feel the same. Like I waffled back and forth between Tay and JK, and I felt like Tay would bring me back. Once I decided it was JK, now I'm
Hmm.
not really bothered. Like I love what I'm seeing from Tay, and I love
Hmm.
this for the Tay stands. We have our other bestie Mariella in the chat right now, and she is loyal Tay from the get-go, and we abandoned her in Tay stan land. We just left her. We're like, sorry, we found our true loves here. That's it. So both of you tell me what is it about Yoongi? What is it about him that you love the most?
I love everything about him, but to be honest, what gravitated me more to him was his honesty. I
Mhm.
just love how honest and transparent he is, and he's even like that with his music.
Mhm.
So, like, you can feel, how raw and real his lyrics are. So
Mhm.
that's why I feel like a lot of people can connect with him. It's what you see is what you get with him, and I love that about him.
That is so true. That is so true.
Hmm.
Like, he's always the one that he has a role in the group, like a persona, I
Hmm.
guess you can say, but out of all of them, I think he, like, plays into his persona the least. Like, he's just authentically himself, even if it means he's sitting in an interview with, like, a total resting bitch face, just like, "What is this?" or "What are you guys doing?" Like, he's just always
Hmm.
himself. I love that about him.
Yes.
MJ, what was your pull to Yoongi?
So once I learned that Yoongi was a part of the rap line, that really resonated with me because I love rap. I mean, I'm from San Diego, California. We love, all of our West Coast rappers, and rap has been a big part of my life. And just knowing, well, I guess not knowing, because I think the first impression I had of K-pop in general was just like, it's pop music. My first intro to K-pop was with, 21 and CL, and that's kind of like little nuggets of K-pop that I had, but never like fully vested until I, discovered BTS, and I was like, okay, there's more to it than just pop. And when I discovered that they had a rap line, and then they had Namjoon, which I was like, wow, Namjoon's cool. He's a cool dude. And then I discovered, Yoongi not only does the rap but also produces and writes the lyrics, and his lyrics are so profound, and they speak to, everyone who's gone through any type
Hmm.
of hardship
Hmm.
or depression, or it's just so relatable. And the fact that we've kind of been able to see that trajectory of him starting from, being really angry, and like the lyrics kind of reflected that. And then now it's like, you know what? Love yourself, it's
Hmm.
going to be okay. And, you got to get yourself out of there. It's okay to dream. And I think Jungi is letting us know in a sort of like storytelling type of way that, I really wish I had someone who was there for me, and I want to be there for you guys and let you know that it's okay.
Hmm.
And that's what I love about Jungi. It's like it's so relatable. We
It
need
is so
that.
yeah, I think D-Day was so profound for that reason. This is interesting that we're talking about this right after RM and Tableau's song came out, and it was like this really profound thing talking about
Hmm.
dark stuff. But when Yoongi came out with D-Day, he really talked about some stuff in that album that he hadn't talked about before.
Hmm.
We knew that he had struggles, we knew that he had trauma, but we didn't know
Yeah.
specifics. In the Amidala music video, we saw glimpses of things that he had been through, his accident and things like that. He is the only member, I guess, that has this like trilogy body of work that takes you through this whole journey of just healing, really healing and self love and all of that.
Yeah.
Now, do you prefer the grit Yoongi, like the gritty, aggressive early days, or do you like soft Yoongi? I mean, I know you like them both. I
You
knew it.
already know my answer. I like the book because, if I need to distress or anything, like I like the angry Yoongi. But if I need comfort, then I have that
Yeah,
soft Yoongi.
yeah.
Agreed. 1,000%
Yeah.
agreed.
I loved when I first listened to August D. It blew me away. I hadn't really heard rap like that before. I listened to him before I really listened to Namjoon's solo stuff. So it was like really my first experience with like that type of rapping, like speed rapping. I loved it. I was hooked right away. So I totally
Yeah.
get it. He's the one that caught
Hmm.
my attention in the group before I even had a bias. So I completely get it. Would you say that you have developed a relationship that now surpasses beyond BTS?
Yeah, 1,000%. It's one of those things, like I can't really explain it, but you just know when you click with someone, or you meet someone that just really understands you, and you don't feel the judgment, you don't feel like it's a really safe space. And I think what I love about having Isabel in my life is that I can be very free. So a big part of that is due to the fact that what I didn't say earlier is that nobody knew I was a BTS army. I was what I consider a closeted army. And so a lot of it was due to how toxic people can be. People can be really mean when they find out that you are a fan of things like K-pop or BTS, and so there does tend to be a lot of like side eyeing and like kind of this like bullying and that culture of like, oh, you like BTS, and so I do admit that I was kind of nervous, afraid, and a little bit, apprehensive to like let people know, like publicly and openly, that I really loved BTS
Mhm.
until I decided to make that page. And that's how I was introduced to a lot of the army that I know today.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's really nice to be able to experience being in a really safe space with other like-minded people and other army who just, get it. And so
Yes.
now I just feel really happy and really excited to always just kind of be able to talk about them and love them and not feel any type of like shame. So I really thank Isabel for creating that space for me.
I feel the same way about her though. When you introduced MJ to me, I remember messaging her and Brad, and we just started talking nonstop and we connected like immediately. It felt like we were like we've known each other for years. And she also created that safe space for me, and I felt like I can open myself and like what I wanted to say, and she wouldn't judge me. So she was like that person that understood me, especially when it came to Yoongi. We just went to J-Hope's concert not too long ago together, and it was amazing.
Yeah, that was your first concert together. I love it. I love that the friendship bloomed. California has a dope army community. So I love that you're getting involved in that. So, song choice of the episode. Let's just get right into that. I asked you both to agree on one song to choose, which you told me was very hard to do. I'm shocked you actually did it. I thought it was going to be like, we can't decide. We love everything he does. That's just how Yoongi stands are.
Yeah.
I won't choose a favorite. So tell us what your song choice was that you agreed on.
So we chose the remix version of So Far Away with Jin and Jungkook.
Love
Yeah.
it. I love it. And I'm glad you chose the remix. I kind of paused when you told me because I had to like think about it again because it's one of those SoundCloud releases. Maybe some armies that are listening don't know about the remix. It was a
Mm-hmm.
Festa release in 2017
Mm-hmm.
on SoundCloud only. So it was a special little thing that came out. You hear it all the time in reels and stuff, like it's used a lot in content. It has JK and Jin doing the vocals, which is like they sound amazing.
They
It's so
sound beautiful.
haunting. The song itself is beautiful.
Yeah.
So, what do you love about that song?
Okay, I'll go. I love it because back to what I was saying before, it's one of those songs that evoke that kind of guttural, emotion of Yoongi just being so vulnerable and letting us know, hey, I've had these ideations. However we want to interpret the song, honestly, I think it really is up to us to really interpret it how we want to interpret it. But I think we can kind of all agree that there's some really dark content or some really like a really dark kind of meaning behind the song. But at the
Mhm.
end, you kind of realize as you're listening to the lyrics that it's like he's saying, you know what? It's okay. And there's this kind of whole theme about dreaming, right? So like it ties into like there's interlude dream and then there's snooze, right? That all kind of have
Mhm.
that dream theme. And so I think he did that so beautifully because it kind of interconnects all the Yoongi universe, right? And so
Yeah.
I love that so much that he's able to do that, and he's so brilliant for it. But also, I think the message there is Yoongi kind of crying out and saying, you know what, I really wish I had someone that would tell me that it's okay.
I love how you said the Yoongi universe. He does often reference other bodies of his music, other songs. He uses a lot of the same wording and I never thought of it that way. I love that you put it that way. I was trying to think about what my favorite song of his is. For me, my choice is The Last, for sure.
It's a great song too.
That song is one of those stop you in your track songs, at least for me. It
Mhm.
feels like he is like giving a sermon, like he is just letting it out. And I always feel like I just need to stop what I'm doing and listen to it. And you hear it and you're just like, wow, damn. And then at D Day, his performance of that took it to a whole nother level for me. when he would close with the last, I found that to be so powerful. The way he's standing there with like, he's just got cameras all around him, just all in his face. And he's like pouring his guts out on the stage, like pouring his guts out. And then it's over and he just walks off the stage. He just walks off the stage after, and it's like, what just happened here? Like, that was insane. Wasn't that insane, Isabel?
I remember crying actually when he was singing that song, and you could just feel it. You feel it in your whole body. I can't even explain it. Like, it's just so powerful, that song, and it was perfect to end it with that song.
Yeah. And it's amazing
Yeah.
how it's an older song of his, but even singing it now, you can tell it like brings up stuff for him because he goes right to that place again when he's singing it. He really doesn't have, he has one song I can say that I'm just not into, and everybody knows it's no secret. People Part 2 is like the song it's not my jam. But other than that, I can't think of a song of his where I'm just like, I can't do it.
And that's why it was so hard for us to choose. It was so hard. We kept going back and forth, and we just were like, we have to decide on one. Jackie said one.
Do you have a favorite of the trilogy?
It's hard, but if I had to choose one, it would be D-Day.
Yeah. MJ?
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh man. I think D-Day also, only because it's a softer side of Yoongi. It's more lyrical rap as opposed to like that really hard, where he's just like really just like you said, pouring his guts out, right? And I like this side of Yoongi where he feels the need to be a little more vulnerable and a little softer. And I really enjoy that. I love that about him. You could see the maturity there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like that's going to be here to stay. I think with Namjoon as well. He's kind of departed from that aggressive rapping, and I kind of miss it. I love Rap Monster. Like, I love those early days of him, but they're both kind of transitioning into more lyrical songwriting and singing. Like, Namjoon is singing more, which is good. I think it's going to be a very big moment for him when he is on that stage and Army's just screaming for him and going crazy and giving him so much love.
Yes, we're ready. We're ready to receive them. We're ready to receive our men.
I thank you all for coming on. It's exciting because we're getting really close to seeing him again. It sucks that he's not going to be out with the rest of them. We still have a couple weeks. We will be eagerly waiting his return and seeing what his plan is. He already did a tour, whereas the others may be embarking on tours when they come out. So I don't know what Yoongi's going to do. Put out some more music. He probably has lots of ideas for the group in terms of music. He's probably written lots of stuff. Let's see what he does. I know you miss him a lot. So thank you for coming on and talking about him with me. Isabel, I'm so proud of you. This was great. This was great. I hope you come back and talk to me again sometime. MJ, you too. Both of you.
Yes.
All right. I love you both.
Bye.
Bye. Didn't they do so good? They did such a great job. I'm so proud of them. I hope you enjoyed this episode about Yoongi. Next up will be J-Hope, and a lot of people are wrecked by J-Hope and want to come talk about him. And I feel like even though I've been talking about Hope on the stage for weeks now, I still have a lot more I can say about my music bias, J-Hope. Don't forget to stream Tableau and RM Stop the Rain and give him the support. And we will talk to you in 2 weeks. Bora hey.